All right. First and foremost, give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and who is worthy to be counted for double honors. Peace and salutations to you brothers out there pushing this truth wholeheartedly and sincerely and full of the gospel. It's the brother Gabari from Indiana Camp, coming back at you again with another sit down. I got this video that I came across, and I'm entitled this video, does the Lord God do evil? All right, we're gonna entitle that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and watch this video and get straight into it.
That's what we're saying. I'm going to show you, if God created all things, why did he create evil? Ooh, that's a tough one. So essentially we're blaming God.
And it's not a tough question. It's just tough. It's a tough question to you Christians, because y'all doctrine, y'all y'all belief is so misconstrued, and y'all really don't know the scriptures. So yeah, it's tough for y'all Christians, but it's actually a pretty simple breakdown. There's a pretty simple thing to understand.
God, that's what we're saying. I'm going to show you a lot of deep depth here as to why that's the wrong question to ask. First and foremost, God created everything good, but
and it's not a wrong question to ask. There isn't no right or wrong question. You know, certain things, questions have levels to them. Certain things you can simply, answer, but there's other questions that are more deep. You have to get into the scriptures. You have to go into history. Like you can't just say, "Oh, well, who's the dragon?" I mean, you can tell, "Oh, well, who's the dragon in Revelations?" You can give them a plain answer, but it can go deeper than that. You have to go through history. You got to show them certain points and prove to them and show them why. Who is the dragon, or who is this person, or who is that person talking about? It does have a short answer, but it can get pretty deep. But in this scenario, this isn't a pretty deep question. It's pretty rudimentary, actually.
Also created everything with free will. So for example, without free will, you cannot love. Otherwise, you would just be a robot. He created us to have relationships.
See, in this video, you can dissect so much into this video. Right now I'm just sticking on the evil, this God does evil part, but it's so much that you can go into. The free will is its own topic in itself, but let's just stick to, what the guy's talking about.
But if you don't choose, then you're a robot. That's not true love. You have to choose to love somebody, because if God made you choose him, if God forced you, with no choice, that's not love. Understand? That's corruption. So where did evil begin? Evil began in heaven. What? Isaiah 14, Ezekiel 28 talks about Satan having the heart. He created Satan as good, but Satan chose rebellion. He rebelled because of pride, and then he deceived Adam and Eve. Evil wasn't created, it was chosen. Evil is the absence of God's will. That's what evil actually is. For example, if you turn off the lights, you didn't create darkness. When you remove the light, darkness comes. Sheesh, that's a bar. You can't create darkness. You just remove the light. And the
interesting words this guy's now watch. Now listen to the words that he's using: darkness, evil, absence of light. Watch these, pay attention to these words.
Byproduct is darkness. Are you guys following me? He didn't create evil, he created choice. No God, there's only evil. That's the byproduct of it. Evil is not a force that's equal to God, guys. Make sense? Remember, God doesn't cause evil, guys. He hates it more than you do. And that's why he sent Jesus. Because Jesus is the only answer. He is the light of the world. Notice that? You have to understand something. If you choose God, it doesn't mean you're not going to feel no more pain. But you start to receive a lens to understand what the pain is. All things work together for God. So instead of asking why does evil exist, we need to understand something. Why do we choose evil? That's what we need to ask.
Yeah, we're gonna stop it right there, man. It was a lot to unpack, what the guy was basically going into, saying you choose evil, it's not of God's will. Matter of fact, let me grab one thing right quick. This is real quick, just to really show you that, listen, the Lord's will is going to get done regardless. How does it go? Hold on. Yep, here it is, right? Wisdom of Solomon. This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11, verse 25. Actually, I'm gonna start from. But the mercy cannot do all things, and we get the sense of man for thou. Okay, I'm gonna start from 24, verse 24. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 11, verse 24. It says, "For thou loveth all things that are." You see, so everything the Lord created, He loves. You know, everything that He created, everything upon the planet, He loved, and He's the one who sanctioned it to be here. You know, it says, "And abhorreth nothing which thou hast made." You see, so everything that you see with your eyes, everything that you can't see with your eyes, everything the Lord had created for a reason, for a purpose. You see? And he abhorred nothing of it. All right? It says, "For what? For never wouldest thou have made anything if thou hast hated it." See? So this guy said, "Oh, no, God hates evil." Well, if He hated evil, then guess what? It wouldn't be here. You see? You see how it doesn't really make sense? You know? By you saying that, "Oh, the Lord hates this, the Lord hates that," guess what's that saying? That's basically saying the Lord is not omnipotent because He doesn't have the power to get rid of it. We're talking about listen, when you think about the Lord, you got to think about Him being as a director or as a creator of a book. You know, a lot of you brothers, if y'all know about Dragon Ball Z, Akira Toriyama created Goku. He created Frieza. He created evil within his story. You see, because guess what? If he didn't create evil, then guess what? Frieza would have been there. Cell wouldn't have been there. Majin Buu wouldn't have been there. You see how ruthless Kid Buu was? He destroyed the earth in mere minutes when he just arrived. But guess what? Akira Toriyama created that character. He created him to do that. You see? So you have to look at the Lord as an author, as a director of a movie or author of a book. He created evil to be within the world. Because right here it says what? If he hated it, if he didn't want it to be there, then guess what you do? You scrap the project. And listen, I created a book before. I wrote a story, you know, and who was it? I believe it was one of my dad's girlfriends. She read something of it and she said, "Oh, I like this. Why don't you use that?" And I read it and I was like, "I really liked it," and I got rid of it. And she was confused. Like, "Wait a minute, that was pretty good. You should have kept that." And I'm like, "No, I didn't want to." You know, because it's not their power, it's your power. You're the author, you're the director. Whatever you say goes. So guess what? If you want something to be in the story, then you're gonna put it in there. And who's gonna question you? Who's gonna say, "Oh, why didn't you do that?" Hey, because I have the power. I have the power to do that. You see? And here's in verse 25, which is the hitter. It says, "How could anything have endured if it had not been thy will?" You see? So everything that you see is the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. The scripture says what? In the last video I did, it says what? Job 9:24. The earth was given to the hands of the wicked. You see? It wasn't taken. It wasn't subdued. It wasn't none of these things. The Lord literally sanctioned it to be like that. Under His obedience, under His guidance. Oh no, I'm gonna allow this to happen. Just like off Everybody Hates Chris, Julius, Chris's father, allowance. I allow you to eat my food. I allow you to go upstairs. I allow you to turn my lights on. That's how the Lord is, man. He allows certain things to happen. That's why in the book of James it says, make sure you put the Lord's will at the end of everything you say. Roughly paraphrasing. Because why? If it's part of the Lord's will that will be done. Lord will, I can do this. Lord will, I can do this. Or Abaratazak. Or Adawan Aratazak. Whichever one, you know, whichever one fits you, you know. But you always say, if it's in your will, Lord, you know. That's why when Yahweh prayed, he said, "Lord, if you know, basically, if thy will, have this cup be passed, have this cup be passed." You see, because what Yahweh didn't want to, you know, he didn't want to get up on that cross, but he understood when he prayed 3 times and the Lord didn't answer him. He said, "Hey, I got to do what I got to do." So you ask if it's going to be according to the Heavenly Father's will to do this or do that, you know, because why? How could anything endure if it has not been thy will, or been preserved if not called by thee? You see? So the reason why we have evil in this society, or we have evil just today, is because of what? Because the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yashah wants it to be there. He's the one who sanctioned it. He's the one who okayed it. Just like how Satan came against Job, Who sanctioned it? Who gave him the okay? Who set the rules? Who set the, hey, all right, you can do this, you can do that. You don't do this, don't do that. The Lord set up everything. He set the playing ground. Now, if Satan was this bad person everybody tries to paint him to be, why didn't Satan just give the Lord the middle finger saying, I do whatever I want to do? You ain't the boss of me. Because why? Because what? He can't do that. Because Satan is an employee of the Lord. He's an angel of the Lord. He does what the Lord tells him to do. See, and a lot of what I just said just went over a lot of people's head, you know. So we're gonna go ahead and get straight to the video now. Now these scriptures I got is basically showing that the Lord does evil. You know, now we understand that all the good that the Lord does in the scriptures, you know, salvation, waking up his men, you know, all the good that's written in the scriptures. But we also, in these scriptures, we also gonna hit some of the evil, some of the bad things, you know. And another thing too, some things, what the hell? Some things might be evil to one people, but good for another. Like for example, slavery. Slavery is good for one people, but bad for another people. It's evil to another person, you know. So this right here, I have is one, you know, and this is what a lot of atheists or, you know, non-believers of the Bible pulls out and saying, oh, how can your God be all good? Well, they really do it for the Christians, because if they come up, you know, on the camp pulling this, you know, we will agree with them actually. They say, how is your God all good? And he basically flooded the earth, or he destroyed the earth. You know, so this is what atheists bring out a lot, which basically we will agree with them. Like, yeah, you know, we agree that, yeah, listen, the Lord is good, and he's also evil. You know, even you have a good side and you also have a bad side. You know, when you get, you know, mad or pissed off, you have certain things that you do to cope with that. You know, the Lord, listen, when the Lord gets angry and the Lord wants something done, then guess what? He sends death angels, or he sends evil angels upon you, you know, to jack you up, either, you know, for whatever reason. But let's go ahead and get this. This is Genesis chapter 6 and verse 17. It says, and behold, even I do bring a flood of water upon the earth to destroy all flesh. Ooh. It says, wherein is the breath of life. It says, and under heaven, and everything that is under the earth shall die. You see? Now, we understand the flood destroyed every living thing upon it, except for 8 souls and 2 pairs of every animal creature. You see? It says, but with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. You see? So what? The Lord destroyed everything, every creature, every person, except for 8 souls, him, his sons, and their sons' wives. You know? And then, and of course the animals, but that is what people will call an evil atrocity. You know? But here's the balance of it. Why did the Lord do that? Let's get the reason. Why did the Lord do that? What is it? Second Ezra. Is it Second Ezra? Second Ezra 3 and 21. That's where I want to go. For Adam being a wicked heart. Yep. Hold on. Make sure I'm getting straight to the point. Yep, here it is. It's verse. All right, this is verse 6. Second Ezra chapter 3 verse 6. It says, and thou leddest him to paradise. Him is talking about Adam, like it says in verse 5, which thou right hand and planted before every the earth came forward. And unto him thou gavest commandments to love thy way, which he transgressed, and immediately thou appointed death in him and his generations, in whom came nations, tribes, people, and kindreds out of the earth. And every people walked after their own will, and did wonderful things before thee, and despised thy commandments. And again, in the process of time, thou broughtest the flood upon those that dwell in the world, and destroyed them. You see, because why? Ultimately, what? Sin entered into the world. Through who? The serpent, beguiled Eve, and Eve beguiled Adam. And then what? Death entered into the world. And then what? Through the generations, evil was increased. Evil was multiplied. So the Lord said, what? You know what? Hey, I'm finna destroy everything with the flood, which is also known as the first death. You see? Because why? Evil is increased, and eventually the Lord wanted to wipe away clean. Why did that happen? Why did the Lord have the people go off? Why did the Lord have sin enter the world? Why did the Lord do all this? It's because it's part of his story, because he wanted to, because it was part of his will. All right? That's not a hard concept to understand. You see? When you're writing a story, you have certain things happen because you want this to happen. Oh, I want to do this, so I have to have this to happen. Another account is, now this is in the Deuteronomy, the 21st chapter. Now this account basically is going into, now this will be considered, now especially in today's time, this would be considered evil towards women, especially women who just who this just happened to. All right, let's go ahead and read this. This is Deuteronomy chapter 21 and verse 10. It says, when thou goest forth to war against thine enemy, and the Lord thy God hath delivered them unto thine hand. Hold on. It says, and the Lord thy God has delivered them unto thy hand, and thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captive a beautiful woman, and has desired unto her, and thou wouldest have her to thy wife. Then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head and part her nails, and she shall put on the remnant of the captivity off of her, and the remnant in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother for a full month. And after that thou shalt go into her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. You see, now this is basically going into what? A concubine, all right, or sex slave, or whatever you want to call it. But when you go to war with another nation, when you was to destroy, or basically I think it says in a verse above, and the Lord delivered thine. Yep, well, it's in verse 10. It says, and the Lord thy God have delivered them into thy hands, which basically means what? You overthrew them, or what? They they basically lost the war. But let's say you go into the village and you see a beautiful woman, who parents you might just killed, or who husband you just might killed, technically she's free gained now. This is also known as what? The spoils of war. All right. So you would actually take her. Now she just lost everything, her parents, her husband, maybe some children or whatever. But she just lost everything. And here and now, you, the person who did it, or the nation who did it, you can now take her, bring her to your house. She should cut her, shave her head off. And then, for a full month, she should try to get over her parents. And then after that, she has to serve you. Now she's your wife. Now, you can bear children with her. She can cook for you, do whatever you want. Now, a lot of people will look at that as, that's like, oh my God, that's so cruel. That's so evil, but it's in the book of Deuteronomy. It's lawful. There's nothing against that. And who wrote, who gave the sanction for Deuteronomy to be put in the Bible? The Lord. So guess what? This is okay with the Lord. The Lord's okay with this. He's cool with it. He's cool with it. If you go against another nation and take, hey, what you gonna think when America be destroyed? When America be destroyed and all these other nation women is gonna be up for grabs? You think we just gonna not not seek opportunity? You think we just gonna not do it? No, If it's lawful, we gonna do it. Matter of fact, I guarantee you we gonna do it. You see? And this is when an Israelite nation goes in to get you heathen nation. So you can't do this to another Israelite nation. You can't go into your, because that's a adultery. You killing your brother and you taking his wife. No. But you can do it to a heathen nation. You see? And that's back when I was saying some things that's good for another people might be evil to another people. Because right now you got to think, just like Jake, the majority of Israelites are in hell up under Esau Edom. Who you think heaven is this for? Who you think is living heaven on earth right now? Is these other nations started with Esau Edom. So if this is their heaven, this is their paradise, then guess what? It's going to be our hell. It's bad times for us. All right. So guess what? In our heaven, when it's going to be good for us, then guess what? It's going to be evil. It's going to be a hell for the other nations. All right. So our good time, our gospel is what everybody else is bad news, or everybody else is hell, or everybody else is evil. You see, because what this would be good for an Israelite, but this would be bad for a heathen. You see, and like I said, man, listen, this is what sanctioned. This is what the Lord sanctioned. This is what the Lord that's how the Lord wanted to get down. He wanted to be written like this. He wanted to, this act to happen. All right. Now this is a future prophecy. This is one that's going to come to pass. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 66 and verse 15. It says, "For the Lord says, behold, the Lord will come with fire." Wait a minute. I thought the Lord was all good. Why is the Lord coming with fire? Let's not forget what he did to Sodom and Gomorrah, where he rained down fire and brimstone for heaven and destroyed it. So if the Lord is all good, then what is this coming down with fire talking about? And with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury and rebukes with flame of fire. For by fire and the sword, what do you use the sword with? You use the sword to kill people. Will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. All right. So if the slain of the Lord shall be many, where's the good in that? You see, that sounds like a very bad time for a lot of people. You see, but the balance, which you people ain't gonna understand it, but the balance is that is good. That is good. You just not gonna look at it as good, because why? The Lord's gonna be killing you, and the Lord's gonna destroy your land. And majority of you people are going to go into slavery, and the other people who's not going into slavery, you're going to be destroyed. So yeah, that sounds real bad if you don't have the balance to it. But here's the balance. The good thing is the Lord is also putting evil out of the world. The ones who don't want to serve him, the ones who don't want to obey, eventually going to get destroyed. And then what? He's going to bring them back to force them to obey him, to put it in their DNA to follow him. And the ones who's been living on planet Earth, what am I trying to say? The ones who's been living on planet Earth, fucking doing wrong by the Lord's people, who never had judgment cast upon them. It's like a bad child who go through a whole entire school all the way to 12th grade, just doing whatever the hell he want. And then when 12th grade hit, what? Somebody just he meets his maker, so to speak. Somebody just completely wails off on him. He's getting all that for the last 12 years. He's been living as a tyrant. He's finally getting his just desert, or he's finally getting what he deserves. That's how you other nations are gonna feel it. You're finally gonna be feeling the Lord's wrath, because he says, "Well, he shall plead with all flesh." Who cause is he coming to please? The Israelites, the so-called Negroes, the Latinos, and the Native Americans. Right now, we are not having nobody plead our cause. But the Lord said, "What? I'm going to come and deliver you. I'm going to come and save you. I'm going to be the one who's going to plead your cause." And that's the balance. That's the good part about it. Because right now there's nobody standing up for us. Just imagine your little brother. Just imagine your little brother is getting bullied, and there's nobody there to help him, and he just got to sit there and suffer and take it. But then guess what? Big brother come. And everybody want to be like, "Oh, no, I didn't know. Oh no, it ain't time for that. No, it ain't gonna be no I don't knows. You know, because guess what? My little brother been telling you, hey, my big brother gonna come. I'm gonna call my big brother. And when big brother get there, everybody trying to scatter. Everybody, I had no part of that. Yeah, but you didn't help. You didn't fucking help. You didn't stand up and say, hey, listen, we ain't gonna, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. No, I'm here, stand up with him. You shouldn't be doing that. There ain't nobody helping. Everybody in the whole entire world's watching Israel get their ass handed to them. And ain't nobody doing nothing about it. So guess what? The Lord said, hey, listen, I'm going to send Yahweh Shai to do something about it. All right? Like I said, evil for you people, good for us. All right, this is 1 Samuel chapter 16 and verse 14. It says, but the spirit of the Lord departed from Saul. Okay, so we understand Saul was the first king of Israel, you know, and she said, sure about picking up. Slocky, I want to see what time. I'll deal with that later. But the spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from who? From the Lord troubled him. You see, so the Lord can send evil spirits, which you people might call demons, you know, but an evil angel, a left-hand angel, call it what you will. It's still an angel of the Lord. The Lord is still the one who sent it. Who you think sent that angel to kill Israel after David numbered them? You know? Who you think sent that death angel in Egypt to kill all the firstborns? This is all comes from the Lord. So you Christians out there who thinks, well, the Lord he's only good. The Lord can only do good. That's true. The Lord can do good, but guess what? He'll also do evil. And guess what? Sometimes a person good is an evil to another person. All right. If one nation puts another nation into captivity, you know, I'm gonna drop the plea. If somebody puts the Israelites into captivity and Israel does good and does right in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord wants, and the Israelites wants the Lord to come back and recompense, then guess what? The Lord's gonna come back and destroy that heathen nation and uplift his people. Good for the Israelites, bad for everybody else. I don't know how much I can stress that. Or, like I said, the Lord can send a good spirit. He can send an angel to protect you. But he also can send an angel to kill you in your sleep, in a car wreck, or whatever. Proverbs 6:16 and 4, it says, the Lord hath made all things for himself. You see? The Lord has made everything for himself. He's made good. He's made bad. He's made evil. He's made righteous. He's made wickedness. Everything. Because why? He's trying to tell a story. He's trying to create something. He created evil. He created good. All right. The Lord hath made all things for himself. Yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. So the Lord created a wicked person, a wicked individual for an evil day. But the Lord is all good. You see how the Christians, it doesn't make sense if let the Christians tell it. But here he is. We're telling you the Lord is bad. The Lord has a bad side. All right. Just as he has a good side, he has a bad side as well. Just as he has a righteous side, he has a wicked side as well. He created the wicked. So how are you going to call, that's the wicked? Who created it? The wicked created the wicked. The wicked. The wicked. The wicked stopped doing good and wickedness was created. No. That's not how. No. The Lord created the righteous and he created the wicked. He created the wicked for the day of evil. And he created the righteous for the day of righteousness. All right. And guess what? The Lord is going to come out and put down the wicked. Right now, he's giving the wicked dominion to earth right now. But eventually, he's going to say, all right, that's done. You done. Cut his scene. You're done. Yeah, all right, it's time for righteousness to rule now. Like I said, as a matter of fact, if you look up the word God in Greek, it goes back to the word theo. And that's where you get the word theater from. You see? So when you're creating a movie, when you're directing a movie or whatever, God has the authority to cut certain scenes, just like how you direct a cut. We're not going to take that. We're not going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. You know? All right. Last scripture, the bread and butter, the one I say for last, the one we should all think about, you know, when we talk about this subject. Isaiah 45:7. It says, I form the light, I create darkness. Right now, remember I told you, remember what old dude said? Let's jump back to that of what he said. He said, well, oh no, the Lord created the light, but if you take away the light, the darkness is the absence of light. So darkness wasn't created. It's just a byproduct. No, darkness was created, guy. Darkness was created. Because here it is in Isaiah 45:7. It says, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. Who does this? I, the Lord, do all these things. You see? So the Lord creates dark light. The Lord creates good evil. The Lord creates peace. All right? And he sanctions, or he allows what's going to be what at a certain time. All right. Right now, what evil, darkness is covering the earth right now. But eventually, as we see the transitioning going on, if you have a spiritual eye, we see the transitioning in between what? Darkness to light, evil to peace, bad to good. But before things get good, before things get peaceful, it has to get to its absolute worst. You see? And we're getting to the absolute worst. All right. Then what? Everything gets bad. Then that's when good is going to flourish. That's when everything right is going to happen. That's when everything that was supposed to be is going to be. All right. Men are going to be in there. The men are going to be men. Women are going to be women. Children are going to be children. Animals are going to be animals. The world is going to flourish. Plants are going to be able to do their thing. Everybody's going to be able to work in the office or job that they were supposed to do. Now, right now, everything is out of course. Everything is out of whack. But the Lord is going to come back and set everything back right. You see? And that's all I got to say in this video. Lord will, I hope this video was edifying. I hope it was informative to you brothers out there. Until next time, shalom.